Hello Year 2, it's Mrs McNulty looking at Thursday's maths. So we're Year 2 and we are Thursday the 21st of January. We're carrying on with our maths learning for the week and today we need to be on page 9. Page 9, and today for the first time this week we are subtracting. So we've done 3 days of addition, 3 days of adding, and now we are subtracting. Okay, and the same ideas from earlier in the week. We're going to show you a couple of different ways that you might want to solve your subtraction problems, and then you can have a go at the way that works best for you. So when we have been adding, then we know that our answers have been getting bigger. Sometimes we needed to count on to get the bigger number, whereas this time we are subtracting, so our answers are going to get smaller. So your answer that you end up with needs to be smaller than the number that you started with. And we're going to start off by counting back. Okay, we'll start off by counting back, and then we're going to go on to subtracting our 2-digit numbers, thinking about partitioning. Okay, so in question 1, it says work out the answers to the problems below, and there are 6 of them for you to do. We're going to model on the board some different ways that you might solve those problems. Okay, so my first one then says 19 take away 6. Now when we're subtracting, we've got a 2-digit number subtract a 1-digit number. There are normally 2 ways that we can solve the problem. We can either put the biggest number in our heads and count backwards, or if the numbers are quite close together, we could put the smaller number in our head and count up to the bigger number to try to find the difference. Okay, but for this question, because 6 and 19, aren't too close together, I'm going to find it easier to put 19 in my head and count backwards. Okay, so like we did yesterday with the adding, I'm going to make myself a number line. But this time, because I am subtracting, I'm not going to be counting on to find a bigger number. I'm going to be counting back to find the smaller number. So I'm going to put 19 down first, but I'm going to put it the other side because it reminds us when we put it the other side to count backwards. Okay, so like we've done in lesson, we're drawing our circles, or with your bingo dabbers, I now need to have 6 circles to help me to count backwards 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 19 goes in my head and I'm counting backwards. So I'm not going to go 19, 20 because my numbers are getting bigger than I've counted on. I've got to go backwards. So 19, you count along, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. My 10s and then my 1s. So in some of your questions today, you might find it that that's the best way of doing it, especially for the first couple. You might find that that's the best way to do it. Okay. Like we said the other day with our adding, it might be that you find that you could do that mentally by putting the biggest number in your head and counting backwards, or it might be that you might be able to subtract the 1s, and then because we're not counting back or crossing any 10s, you could keep the 10s the same. So 9 take away 6, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Write my 1s down, and my 10s are going to stay the same because I haven't had to change any 10s, cross any 10s, or take any 10s away. Okay, so that's a couple of ways of tackling the first question. Okay. Second one then says 38 take away 5. And again, I would think about doing that the same way. I'm not going to put 5 in my head and count all the way up to 38 because those numbers are quite far apart and that would take quite a long time. That wouldn't be the most efficient way of doing it. So either 38 in my head, counting backwards 5, or if it helps me, I can draw my number line, 38. And 5 jumps backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33. Okay. Or again, without using your circles, you might be able to subtract your 1s, and for that one, so because have kept the tens the same and subtracted the ones. Okay, this kind of question is similar to the one that you've got for F. Okay, and it is 59 take away 10. So what you could have done is started with 59 and counted backwards 10 times. Could have done 10 circles on your number line. Or what you can see is, like we talked about with our adding, we know that if it's a multiple of 10, we haven't got to take away any ones. So I can keep my 9 ones the same. So all I've got to do is 5 tens take away 1 10. 5 take away 1 is 4, isn't it? So I would have 4 tens. 59, count back 10, 49. My ones have stayed the same. It's only my tens that have changed. Okay. Your second question then is asking you, like we did with adding on Tuesday, to partition to work them out. So they've done it exactly the same way that I modelled to you on Tuesday with adding, except that we are subtracting. So that might be a way that you want to have a go at working it out today. The first one's being done for you. So if I use my example, I've got 56 take away 25. So first job, if you're doing it like in the book, is to partition it. So 56 equals 50 add 6. And then we need to partition the second number. 25 equals 20 add, 20 add 5. I thought I'd done my add sign wrong. I got all of a muddle then. Okay. But I've got my add sign in the middle, even though I'm subtracting, because that's what I'm partitioning, isn't it, year 2? So now I'm going to subtract. Remember, I'm taking away my ones. So I always find it helpful to colour my ones in. So I've got 6 ones in the first number, and I've got 5 ones in the second number. And I've got to remember that I am subtracting. So 6 take away 5 equals 1. That one, I could work it out. And then I'm going to subtract my tens. So I've got 50 and 20. Remember, I'm subtracting, so I need to do 50 take away 20. And what we can do for that one when we're subtracting is we can sort of imagine that our zeros aren't there and think about 5 tens take away 3 tens. Well, I know 5 take away 2 tens is 3 tens, and then I know, because I'm thinking in tens, I need to add my 0. Or I could go 50, 40, 30. Okay? Remember, if both of your numbers are tens numbers, you could do 5 tens in the 5s column, take away 2 tens, you know that's going to be 3 tens, so our answer would be 30. And then all we need to do is combine the ones and the tens. We need to add them together at the end. So I've got my 1 and I've got my 30. 30 add 1 equals 31. Okay, so that's what my answer would be to that one. But again, you might find that it's easier or it's helpful for you to draw it out in your base 10. So I'm going to draw 56, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My 56. And because I'm taking away, I can just take away 2 tens and I can take away 5 ones. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can see that I've got 3 tens left and I've got 1 1. Okay, so this time is a little bit different. Because I'm taking away, I can cross the tens and the ones off. So I started with 56. I need to take away 2 tens and I need to take away 5 ones. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 31. Okay, left over. So that's another way that you could work it out. Again, we could put that in a column. Now, we haven't looked at column subtraction in school, but if it is that you did want to think about it that way, it is our next step for our learning. So when we write them in column, we have to make sure we put the numbers lined up with the tens and ones in line. Okay, we have to make sure we draw our box for our answer. And remember, we always start with the ones. So I can now do 6 ones, take away 5 ones. 6 take away 5 is 1. And I can do 5 tens, take away 2 tens. 5 take away 2 is 3. And then you can see how you could get 31 doing it that way. Okay, so column method is our next step that we would have been doing if we were doing our learning in school at the minute. So it might be that that's one way you want to have a practice or at least have a check of your answers if you use another method as well. So question 2, part B and part C. You've got either the partitioning method, like we did with adding. You can draw your tens and ones and take away, cross out the tens and ones that you don't need. And you can also have a think about doing it in column method like that. Okay. Question 3 then asks you to use a number line to work out each answer below. Now in school, we wouldn't practice doing our subtraction on a number line, okay? So if you could have a little look at the number line and you could use it to count backwards, then that might be a way that works for you. Okay, those little lines in between haven't been numbered, but they are just counting in ones. So you might find that you could find the first number and count back on the number line. Okay, but that is quite a tricky way of doing it, especially when we haven't got all the numbers marked. So you could have a little look at using the number line, but what I might suggest is for question 3, part A and part B, I would perhaps work it out on your whiteboard the same way as we've practiced working some of the other ones out. Okay, have a little try. Get your grown up to take a photo. It's our first day of subtracting and we'll see how we get on. Okay, if it is you find this way a little bit tricky, then have a go at drawing it pictorially. I got a little bit muddled that way because when we're partitioning, we're using our add sign in between our tens and our ones, but then when we come to subtract our tens and our ones, we are taking away. So it does seem a little bit confusing and we might get a little bit muddled doing it that way. Okay, but have a try, see what works for you. And remember, if you want to draw it in the boxes or draw it on your whiteboard to check, then that is another good way of doing it. That's what your whiteboard is for. Okay, hope you get on well then with subtracting for the first time. I look forward to seeing your answers and your super learning. Work really hard and give it a good try. Okay, well done, year 2.